What's up, my comic comrades? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin issue 4 has finally dropped. The gaps between issues have been crazy long on this book, but at the same time, it definitely helps build anticipation. Anyway, if you haven't been reading TMNT The Last Ronin for yourself or watched our videos on issues 1, 2, and 3, you're gonna wanna do that before watching today's video to get yourself up to speed on the series. If not, today's episode is gonna be full of spoilers for you. I'll also quickly mention that issue 3 of Astonishing Times also released yesterday, which is the new superhero mystery comic I wrote with Frank Barberry and artist Rory Coleman for Comixology Originals. We actually posted a teaser episode for the new issue here on Variant as well, which you could watch right here. Either way, you could pick up your copy of issue 3 exclusively on Comixology or Kindle. In fact, you could pick up a copy of all 3 issues if you have it already. But with that said, let's finally jump into where the 4th issue of The Last Ronin takes us. The issue starts off now in present time with Michelangelo and Casey Marie at war with their army storming Baxter Stockman's island. Michelangelo then tells Casey, "I'm gonna find another way in. Lay down suppression fire and wait for my signal. And drop smoke. Lots of smoke." Casey then says, "But we," to which Michelangelo interrupts saying, "Now, Casey." She just replies, "Yes, sensei." On the next page, we continue to see Michelangelo battle through Baxter Stockman's robots as Casey and her men focus their gunfire on the 2 gun towers. While inside the facility, Baxter Stockman, who now looks like a cross between the Mummy and Cyborg, says, "Intruders, let me guess. Imbecilic thugs looking for junk to pawn. Eliminate them now," as his robots start doing his command. But come on, this is Michelangelo, now the last Ronin. He ain't gonna be taken down by Stockman's tech. Nope, he uses Leonardo's sword and Raphael's side to tear Stockman's robots apart. But as he's starting to get overwhelmed, Casey shows up, saving him. But Mikey says, "I thought I told you to stay put." She responds, "You did, I didn't." He then tells her, "Terrible discipline, excellent initiative. Don't do it again, understood?" She replies, "Yes, sensei, I'm learning." The comic then takes us to then, sometime before they started their assault on Stockman's island, as we see Mikey looking at Casey training on a punching bag all by herself, while the ghost of Leonardo says her technique is decent, but she's developed some bad habits. Be interesting to see what she could do with 10 years of real training. The ghost of Raphael then says, "Except we don't have 10 years. The ghost of Donatello then says, "I wonder why she cut her hair." At which point Mikey speaks up saying, "I don't know about her hair, Don, but if she's gonna be fighting regardless, it's time to find out what she's willing to learn." Mikey then sneaks up on Casey saying, "Well, besides getting your cardio in, that was just about useless." She then says, "Whoa, I didn't hear you come in." He tells her, "Sneaky ninja, remember? You ever fight anyone skilled with that garbage?" She then tells him, "Hey, I've got skills." He says, "Okay, show me. Hit me as hard as you can. Now." She hesitates, to which he says, "Figures, nothing but a child pretending to be a warrior." This obviously pisses her off, at which point she attacks him but misses. This all leads to a sparring match between the two of them, with Mikey easily deflecting all of her attacks, while simultaneously making fun of the way she fights, saying stuff like, "Your legs are weak and slow, but not as slow as your fists." He ultimately grabs her arm and slams her against the brick wall until she says, okay, I give." But he tells her that's not the point, to give up. Even the greatest of warriors can't punch their way out of every confrontation. Sometimes it pays to be subtle, fluid, elusive, avoiding strikes rather than delivering them. Let your enemy wear themselves out. That way you can remain in control. He then tells her, "Look, I don't know you and you don't know me, but you're practically family and you need a teacher. You have skills, but a lot to learn. Too much to learn, and I might be willing to teach you. But it's my way or the highway. No backtalk, no attitude. I tell you what to do and you do it. Got it?" Casey then says, "Like seriously? No bull? You'll teach me like a real teacher?" He tells her it's sensei, at which point she says, "Right, a sensei." While giving him a big hug, he tells her, okay, right, good. Well, we start first thing in the morning. After Casey leaves, April sneaks up on Mikey saying, "Well, I think Splinter would be very proud of you, sensei." Mikey asks, "April, how long were you watching?" She responds, "Long enough." Mikey then says, "I'm sorry, I hope I didn't overstep my bounds. She's a good kid, and I don't want her to get, I want to help somehow." April tells them, "Time is always short. Life is short. What you just did is more than I could have hoped for." Splinter was there for all of his sons. All of us. Everyone he thought of as family. Until the very end. Casey Marie's only had me, and I could only do so much. She's tough, has her dad's courage, my brains, but she needs something more. A place to direct her skills. Soothe her anger. Thank you." And speaking of Splinter, you never finished telling me what happened in Japan. Mikey, I need to know. He then tells her, "I know, I'm sorry, it still hurts so much. Everything does, but your family, you should know." Mikey then picks up the story he started in issue 3, where he began to tell April how he stowed away on a plane to warn Splinter and Donnie that the parlay with the Hiroto clan was a farce, after they were all attacked in New York, leading to the deaths of Leonardo and Casey Jones. We then get a flashback scene drawn by the great Kevin Eastman himself, co-creator of the Ninja Turtles. And in it, Mikey says, "I ditched the cargo hold and made my way out of the airport without being seen, and headed for the countryside to the Clan Hamato. When he finally makes his way there, he's greeted by Master Shinichiro of Clan Hamato. Shinichiro then tells Mikey, "Follow me, we will speak further inside." At this point, Mikey asks Shinichiro, Please, where are my father and my brother? But Master Shinichiro just remains silent, avoiding Mikey's eyes, before saying, there are people, creatures, teachers, warriors, heroes, and legends. Your father, Master Splinter, was all of these, telling Mikey that his father, Master Splinter, has died. The comic then takes us to before Splinter's death, when him and Donnie first arrived. Splinter, being back home, then takes in the air, saying, there's no place on Earth with air as sweet as this. I miss it very much. Shinichiro then tells Splinter, we miss having you here, and we will properly celebrate your return home, old friend, but first, we have peace talks to attend. The next morning, Splinter, Donnie, and the Amada clan make their way to the peace talks, where they see it's being held at a burial ground. So Splinter says, I hope Oroku Hiroto chose the location out of ignorance and not malice. Donnie then says, a resting place for the dead definitely wouldn't be my first choice. Shinichiro then speaks up, saying, agreed, but I stated our reconnaissance revealed no Foot Clan deception. The peace talks then start with Ambassador Hara of the Foot Clan saying, I'm at your service. Master Hiroto sends his warmest wishes and kindest regards. Splinter then says we assume the young master would be leading the delegation. Shinichiro then speaks up saying yes, an incredible display of bad faith. The Foot Ambassador then says, oh no, not at all. Master Hiroto is overseeing the final preparations for the grand feast we will enjoy once we reach an agreement. I'm sure he's on his way here now for a greeting and completion of the ceremony. Long story short, Splinter says we'll wait for Hiroto. The ambassador says, please be reasonable. We were humble servants of our master. We only seek peace. Splinter then says, as do we. This war has lasted generations. A few more minutes will not matter. At which point Hiroto arrives on horseback saying, so the prodigal mutant returns. Welcome home, rat. Or should I say, pitiful deluded fool. How easy it was to get you here only for you to learn you've wasted your life and that of your disgusting mutant spawn on a thread of false hope. Tell me, rodent, have you heard anything of your family in New York? As he laughs, because as we know, most of his family and sons were killed in New York already. At this point, Splinter obviously realizes they've been tricked and starts slicing off Foot Clan members' heads as well as their ambassador's head. And he does this while saying to Hiroto, while you're still breathing, you will call me Master Splinter. Oroku then says, I call you Hellbound, where the rest of your revolting family awaits. Grand Warriors of the Foot Clan attack, and with this, an all-out battle ensues, a battle that ends with Splinter and Donnie's death by repeated hits from arrows. But before Splinter died, he was able to throw his sword into Oroku's shoulder. It didn't kill him, but it was the last attack Splinter would ever do. But there you have it, guys. That's how Donnie and Splinter died. They were ambushed during what was supposed to be a peace treaty between the two clans. We see that Master Shinichiro tells Mikey all of this after he arrived and tells him he can stay here and live with the clan. But Mikey said seeing all the brave warriors surrounding him only reminded him of everything he lost. We are then brought back to the present where Mikey finishes telling April all of this, and he tells her, April, I'm the last of my kind, a Ronin. This is when I decided the feud must end. I would follow my father's journal, train and complete the mission we were intended to from birth. All Uroku must perish. April then tells him, you're here now, that's what counts. And the way Casey Marie has taken to you, it's so amazing to watch. I never thought she'd be able to connect with someone the way she has with you. Mikey then tells April, you sure about that? Seems like our connection is by design. Your design. April then says, what are you saying? He tells her, when were you gonna tell me about Casey's extra abilities, April? Why would you keep that away from me? April then says, I wasn't keeping it away. Not exactly. Mikey asks, you didn't inject her, did you? April then yells at him saying, hell no, you know me better than that. I would never do that to my child. I've done thousands of tests since she was born, looking for the origin. As far as I could tell, trace amounts of the mutagen DNA were passed on from her birth parents, who happened to have nearly lifelong exposure from the company they kept. Mikey then asks, wait, seriously, us? We contaminated all of you? April then says, you didn't know. We all didn't know. Look, she's basically normal in all aspects other than strength and speed, and her healing ability, all of which have increased with her age, which is why I wanted samples of your blood. Mikey then asks, does she know? April tells him, she's aware she's different, but I haven't told her everything. Not yet at least, but soon. Until then, I need you to keep this between us, okay? Mikey tells her, yeah, sure. Our secret. But how crazy is that? That's a huge revelation in this issue. Casey Marie, the daughter of April O'Neil and Casey Jones, has mutagen in her DNA due to prolonged exposure from her parents being around the Ninja Turtles. So she's somewhat superhuman with increased strength, speed, and a healing factor. So does that mean she's like a human Ninja Turtle? That's what I'm gonna think because quite frankly, it's kind of funny. But seriously, this is a really cool revelation. After this, April takes Mikey to the kitchen where she says, let's get some caffeine in us. Plus, I have some friends coming over that I want you to meet. And we see those friends are part of her resistance. So Mikey, Casey, and April and the resistance all strategize on how to break into Baxter Stockman's island, which takes us back to where the comic started with Mikey and Casey and the rest of the resistance assaulting Stockman's island. Now we get lots of awesome fight scenes here for a few pages, but ultimately April comes to save the day in her tank, connecting Professor Honeycutt's head to Stockman's power supply to bring him back to life. At which point Stockman, all of his mousers and robots try to stop April, Mikey, and in the game. Stockman eventually gets to April, but she just punches him, but he just retaliates, backhanding her to the ground, saying, "Damn woman, I nearly felt that." He then grabs Honeycutt, saying, "I'll finish you all momentarily, but not until I secure," as he grabs Honeycutt's head from the charger April put him on. Stockman then says, "My prize," but Honeycutt says, "You shall not pass." Stockman then replies, "What did you say?" And Honeycutt repeats, "You shall not pass," while proceeding to electrocute Stockman, with Stockman saying, "No, stop." But Honeycutt continues while saying, "For my family, for my friends, for everything," ultimately disintegrating Baxter Stockman all Dr. Manhattan style. At this point, April says, "Goodbye, Zayton Honeycutt, thank you," while Casey Marie says, "Everything's powering down," and April tells her, "Baxter's dead. The nanobite swarm, Honeycutt, is in control now." I'm getting word it's happening all over the compound, and starting to affect the city too, as we see Oroku's robot policeman powering down. Then people in the city say, "Everything's shutting down, even the foot cops." We then see Oroku say, "This is impossible, I have control over the power grid," and stopgaps all over the system. Get Stockman on the line now. But as people tell him, we no longer have a communication link with his island, Master Hiroto. We've been blocked out of all systems, a virus of some kind. Everything is offline. Oroku then says, "Sound a full tactical alert. I want everyone and everything with a weapon in this tower now, and I want Stockman standing in front of me within an hour." Elsewhere, we see Mikey and April and Casey Marie make their way out of Stockman's island, with Casey saying, "I think we won." April says, "The battle, not the war." And Mikey finally says, "And not at a price I'm willing to pay anymore." And with that, issue 4 comes to an end. What can I say, guys? This series continues to be absolutely amazing, especially if you're a Ninja Turtles fan. We keep getting awesome reveals and backstories of things that happen, like us learning how Splinter and Donnie died, and then the revelation that Casey Marie has superhuman abilities due to containing mutagen in her DNA passed down by her parents who had prolonged exposure to mutagen as they were always around the Ninja Turtles. Very, very cool, and I'm super excited to see where they go with it. So come on issue 5, although that's probably going to be like another 2 or 3 month wait. With all that said, what do you guys think of this series? Do you absolutely love it like me? Let us know in the comments. First up for the week of the 29th, we have Extreme Carnage Omega issue 1. As the solicit implies, it all comes down to this: Carnage wins. Next, we have Superman 78 issue 2. This is the second issue of a brand new Superman 6-issue miniseries that takes place in the Christopher Reeves Superman continuity. That's more than enough reason to pick up this title. Now we have Thor issue 17. This is the finale to the Revelations arc. Thor, ruler of Asgard, can now focus on just that, ruling. But with power comes truth, and Thor will learn that being king isn't so simple. When Havoc on Midgard begins, Mjolnir seems to have vanished under the Avengers' watch, and Thor must learn more than one truth this day. And finally, we have Astonishing Times issue 3. That's right, issue 3 of my comic series is finally here, and in this issue, we get the first full appearance of Infinite along with some of his backstory. Like I've been saying, this issue is where everything starts getting crazy, so you're gonna want to check it out. And that's gonna bring today's episode of Variant to a close, but if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to check out this one right here, and if you like all of our content, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It always helps the channel out. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.